else what they're going to invent with it. That's all.
This is the Franklin Township Public Library Board of Trustees meeting. It's Wednesday, August 28th, and I will call the meeting to order. We'll start with a pledge of allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm going to call the roll. Agnes?
Yes.
Iris?
Yes.
Edward is absent. And Nicholas, I'm here. Mayor Kramer is absent. Tom Lennon? No. NBC?
Present.
Yes. And Kevin McNeil?
Present.
Yes. January Adams is also here.
The mayor's coming.
You see him?
I saw him.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there he is.
The white hair.
I will answer that the mayor is here, although he's right outside the door.
He's coming.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, also known as the Sunshine Law. The schedule and notification of this meeting have been provided to the Courier News, the Home News Tribune, and the Franklin Township Clerk. Copies have been posted in the library's vestibule and are also available at the reference desk. I would now open the public portion of the meeting. Is there anyone who would like to, any member of the public who would like to say something?
Not at this time, thank you.
Seeing no comments from the public, we will close the public portion and move on to approval of the minutes of the June meeting. I assume everybody has read them?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I so move we accept the minutes.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The minutes of the June meeting are accepted unanimously. Moving right along, we will ask January to give us her director's reports, both the financial and the program reports.
Let's do the financial first. This is the first month in the new fiscal year. And everything is pretty much on course.
Thank you. We'll put those on file.
Any questions?
No. Not.
Nada.
Okay. Okay. So then I'll do the program report. And I will tell you that we had 129 programs, and we had 1,045 people attending them. And the teens were kept particularly busy this summer. We had a lot more programs and they were doing a lot more interesting things this summer. So I wrote about all those. And the summer reading programs have concluded. When I wrote this, they were still going, but they've concluded on the 15th, I think. So in the next meeting, I'll give you a statistical report on the final totals on everything. And I went, as Nick did, and as the mayor did, to the groundbreaking for the Township's Youth Center on August 15th.
Yeah.
Was it exciting?
It was very nice. It was very hot, but it was nice. There was shade.
It was very exciting.
I even got to hear the mayor give a talk.
Did I say something?
Yes.
If I was here, I would have gone.
Okay.
It
So
was,
would- so-
it was
so
just
would
the
have I.
right length, actually. It didn't go on too long. It was just the right length.
Are there any questions?
No. Not.
I have one. I don't know what the Anime Magna program is.
Anime.
Anime is very big with the kids. It's
Yeah.
like this Japanese animation
Cartoon
thing.
type of-
And manga is a comic book.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have like a big concert, like one of the groups that does that in the Meadowlands a couple of months ago. I didn't know how big it was.
Oh, that
So-
BTS, whatever
Yeah.
their name is?
Yeah.
When the convention center was still in town, they used to have an anime convention here every year. That was kind of like Comic-Con, I mean,
Yeah.
on a smaller scale.
Right.
But there were at least 1,000 people that would come to it.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they were dressed in these,
Big, yeah.
it was a sight to
It's
behold.
a sight to see, and it's like I took my niece, and you know they had the big posters of the, and these guys are really, I didn't know anything about them, but they're like really positive, right? They have a really positive message. I mean, it's refreshing, you know, with a lot, you know, when you think about a lot
Yes.
of the music and things today, for you know, really everything was so positive, and the kids just go crazy. I mean, they started screaming in the car, but you know, from the turn, whatever you could see the
Oh,
poster.
really?
I kid you not.
That must have been fun to drive.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't fun to get out of the traffic though. Yeah, well, so that's what that is.
Thank you. Thank you all. Any other questions about any of the reports, of the program reports? Okay. I would like to thank January for the inclusions she gave us with our packet. A lot of good information. I know the book club information was very helpful for me, and I passed it on to my wife.
Oh yeah.
And perhaps after I talk about a president's report, we can discuss the funding issues that were presented in the packet. But for now, the president's report, there's 2 or 3 items here. The first one is the Lewis Street Community Youth Center, and this is really my report and January's. She said I could read it and she would chime in. So we met with township officials and the architect, Mr. Andrew Dillon. It was communicated to us by Mr. Vornlacher that our entry cost would be based on the 1,200 square feet that was originally promised us, and the cost is $385 per square foot. That will cost $462,000. We were happily told that furniture would be provided in the building cost.
That's
So-
a good thing.
And we discussed library space and layout, and January had some issues, which subsequently were addressed by the architect, Mr. Dillon. I believe to your satisfaction, is that?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Great.
So, and then, as January mentioned, the groundbreaking was hot and exciting, and shovels were decorated with flowers and chrome plated, and January dug, as did Mayor Kramer. Everybody dug. 14 people dug, and I think that's enough of an excavation to build the building.
We have a well now.
Now, as far as the land for the Franklin Park branch, we got good news from the DEP telling us that there is no freshwater wetlands on the property that we've looked at near the Franklin Park School.
Good.
January and I will meet with the Board of Education in September to discuss how we can make approximately 1 acre available to the township, who will become the owner of it. And I have included here a little drawing of where the property is, and an imaginary but accurate but not official layout of how we might fit a 5,000 square foot building and 20 parking spaces into approximately 9.85 acres. This, of course, would have to be done by an engineer rather than by me, but this will give the Board of Education some idea of what we're talking about.
And the decision will have to be made if retention basin
Well,
has to be.
yeah, that's
Or-
why we're talking
Type
about
of mitigation.
0.85 to 1 acre.
Okay.
In talking to the engineering department, it seems that it's quite possible that the retention can be done underground. So, but
Or I
this,
wonder if the school's retention is already sufficient.
well, this is why the engineer, this is why this has, we made a conscious decision not to go to an engineer before talking to the Board of
Sure.
Education, because it would cost a couple $1,000s to have
I
a
agree.
drawing made like this. And I'm only charging less for this.
Nick, what is
20
this? What is this?
It's a little enclosure where you put garbage cans, so that the garbage truck can come up, back up into it and
Oh, okay.
and spill.
Okay.
And it seems to be a requirement on all commercial buildings. It's a little, and it has to be where it's accessible to the.
Right, so they can drive right
That's
in,
what-
yeah.
Yeah. So, other than that, in response to the packet we got from January about how libraries are funded and who makes the decision on funding them, I did look up a few numbers here, and you can see that there's, based on per capita, there's quite a variation in the funding that various libraries have. There are just four numbers here. One of them is ours, and does everybody have this?
Yeah.
I had it a second ago.
Yeah, we have it.
I have it. Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
So, it's obvious that Westfield is a little higher income area than ours, and Bernardsville is
On their own planet.
on their own planet.
That's business.
Yeah, that's more than double. Right?
But the point that January's article made is that the method of funding, especially in New Jersey here, doesn't quite make sense, because the third mill, that is the minimum that a community must support the library with, is based on property values. So clearly, the towns with the highest property values get the most money, whereas perhaps the towns with lower property values may have as much or greater need for
Right.
libraries.
Right.
So it's something to think about.
The whole concept of taxing over property values is 400 years old and
Outdated.
needs to be corrected, in my opinion, by state. But it's a landmine, a third rail that
Yep.
they've been afraid to handle.
Okay.
Do these numbers at all, and I would think not, indicate, now I know Bernardsville, I have been there many times on Sundays for their programs, and they do a lot of fundraising. The Friends of the Library do a lot of fundraising, and I know that they do get a lot of money from that. I don't know if that's reflected in this number.
Yes, it
or
is.
that's separate.
Probably.
No,
Yeah, where
no.
did you get these numbers from?
I got this number from the number of people that are in the various,
So how much each person?
this is per capita,
Okay, okay.
yeah. That's not the way you usually see these numbers presented, but this is what I think is important. And Iris, to answer your question, the Bernardsville numbers do include $75,000 from their
The Friends of.
Friends of Bernardsville Library, and the township or borough, whatever it is, gives them more than the 1/3 mill. Did you hear that? And
He's not here.
and they get a measly $3,000 from the state. So, to get $75,000 from their friends
That's a lot.
to distribute among their 6,000 people. That's why this number goes up, is so high.
Okay.
You don't want money from the township, but I'll tell you why. Because when something happens, as it happened in 2010, we're furloughing people and laying off police officers, et cetera, any money we give,
Take it back.
we would take back.
Yes.
We're not gonna like promise it in perpetuity. We're
No,
going
no,
to do it year to year. And then your funding will suddenly drive up out of with no control whatsoever of your own.
And the problem is with libraries that have done that, where they get extra money from the town and then the town can't provide it anymore, the libraries have become dependent on it.
Right.
And they've built up on it.
Right.
And so it creates all sorts of, that's why,
The domino effect.
contrary to what Nick says, I think it's better to stick with a third of a mil, keep with
Well-
our budget.
Yeah, January and I have discussed this at times, and I'm very happy that we can do as much as we do on that, and we appreciate the township's cooperation on things like the sidewalk repair, the snow shoveling and so forth.
Right, and back in 2010, we
Nothing was done.
wouldn't have done that. It would be, we were talking about, well, you guys need to mow your own lawn, and you guys need to, I mean, things were tight.
Yeah,
And so, but now
it's
we're adequately funded and,
it's an interesting situation, though, where the township owns the buildings.
yeah,
So, in this case, we pay for maintenance on your building, and we pay for heat for your building, which is okay.
do you pay us rent?
Utilize.
We can't pay you rent.
Yeah, but in the case of the new building that we're going to build, we will be paying for that, for the construction of that building.
Right, but you won't be paying rent or heat.
We won't be
or-
paying rent, yeah.
Or heat.
Yeah.
Well,
So there's
that's-
definitely a cooperation.
Yeah, and now, the cooperation is really three-way, as we're approaching the Board of Education to hopefully get some arrangement to use a piece of land that they own, and the township has swapped land with Board of Education, so there's that good relationship, and I think whatever we can do to enhance the relationship between the three entities is a good thing. Let's see, where are we? We're supposed to be having a meeting.
I, by the way, have to leave at 10 after, 8 after,
What will be done?
8 after?
8 after.
So we'll go on to correspondence and communication. We've been talking about some of this already. January, would you like to?
No, I have nothing really to add to it.
These are the three very useful pieces that were in our packet. Is there any old business? Is there any new business? Okay. I don't see any necessity for an executive session this evening. Does anybody,
Right, we'll be
I know, I told you.
does anybody have any reason to go into executive session? Okay. I'd like to again open the meeting to the public in case there's any comments.
Two quick questions. Sorry if this is a stupid question, but are library employees considered municipal employees?
No.
Oh, they're separate, okay. And what revenue does the library generate from a friend's group or book sale, roughly? Annually? Is it in the book, if it's in the green page, is that an account?
Well, you can look at the revenue page. I mean, I can,
Okay, I was just a
It-
ballpark figure.
it's,
I don't think much.
looks like it's about $350,000 a month.
Wait,
$350,000 a month?
no,
No.
book sales.
Well, this is all
It's a
the,
lot simpler.
is that what, you just want that, you don't
Book sale
want?
and friends, just
Book sale and friends?
charitable or whatever you want
Book
to call it.
sale is, well, this past
There are
month
no
was,
Oh, you don't have a friends group here?
no.
Oh.
This looks like it was about $800 between the book sale and the history book sales and things like
Children's
that.
book sale and
Yeah.
general book
Or
sale.
that's a month.
That's a
fundraising.
month. It varies.
Yeah.
But there's other sources of revenue, like there's the copiers,
Mhm.
fines, interest,
Of course.
the fees that non-residents pay to get cards, the printer copies, and of course, state aid.
There are a lot of non-residents that
I think maybe there's about 50 of them.
What's the non-resident fee?
$50.
And
Yeah, one
it's
other quick question.
membership.
pretty generous.
Yeah.
That's not bad. When you get book sale donations,
Mhm.
supposedly, and they're no good, do you put them in a dumpster? The
We
things
rec-
you can't sell, do you just put them in a dumpster, or do you bring in a company to give you 10 cents a pound for them, or what do you?
We
what you
do a
say?
combination of things. A lot of it gets recycled.
How do you recycle
We
it?
tear off the covers and we put them out in our
In the
recycling.
paper recycling?
Yes. And then we use an organization called Better World Books.
Mhm.
They will buy them. I mean, the ones that they will accept, we sell some of them to Better World Books. And then some of them, a very small amount, get donated to other organizations.
Is there an employee in charge of that process?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are we gonna talk about, recognizing,
Well, at this time, we, if we can go back to new business, if anyone has any new business,
yeah.
okay? Iris?
Well, Nick and I were discussing, maybe having a program for recognizing employees or recognizing, volunteers, because I think it might be good for the morale of the employees and the morale of the volunteers. And we were discussing, Nick suggested a card where somebody could fill out and say, did somebody give you exceptional service or whatever, and we would get a feedback as far as, I know every time I call AOL or I call Amazon or McAfee or something, I get an email 2 seconds later, how would you rate
Right.
this, phone call, So, I think,
Yeah, I think
is it
that,
necessary? No, but I think, is it nice? Yes.
We do a party every year for the volunteers.
Okay.
We do that.
Well, that's good.
Are we invited to that party? We're volunteers too.
Well, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are.
You won't tell us when it is, but we're invited, right?
Good.
Or the-
We'll find out.
Find out.
We'll find out.
yeah, but I think that's a good
We know
idea.
something.
I think it does boost morale, especially for employees when they are recognized.
So how do you want to recognize them, or what did you have in mind? Something the board would do?
Okay, I think that something I saw yesterday when I went to a medical facility where there were lots of people that would interact with you for various things. There was a bunch of cards, and it said, "Who is your something star angel," or something like that, and you would name the person and just say why you think they gave you special treatment, and then I guess that card would go. I don't know what they did with it, but I imagine it would get back to the individual who was named. It was just a simple card.
In some areas, they find a location where they put it where everybody
Right.
can read it.
Right.
On a billboard?
Do you have something, I mean,
Well-
as basic as employee of the month or something?
don't do that.
You don't do that. I mean, I don't know if that's a good idea, but I'm saying
Superstore.
just.
Sometimes that gets
Yeah, yeah.
kind of
yeah,
competitive.
Right,
And
right. But I mean, I don't know if it, I know at my daughter's job, they I don't know if that could be done. They do like, gift certificates or something. I don't think that could be done either,
Yeah, it's
right?
kind of hard because
No,
we're,
gift certificates.
Right.
are not.
Yeah, I guess that's a private thing. But anyway, I don't know.
A certificate without gift.
Freelance, but I don't even know how would we recognize them then? I mean, how would that work?
you would have to chip in. I mean, that's one way to do it. The board would make a contribution if you wanted to have like a small party or something. The board, because we can't use taxpayer
Right,
money
right,
Right.
to
right.
have a party.
But
Or
we
to
could
buy
have a
gifts.
little area on the bulletin board,
Boards.
so-and-so this month is the employee of the
Well, that's what I was just
month
saying.
or the
Yeah, that-
volunteer of the month, so,
We have that real estate. But
you know, it doesn't have to be a monetary thing, it just is
But that's what I just said. You
I'm
said
a
that
little
sometimes
leery about that with
that's
morale.
yeah gets too competitive, or
Why was
someone might
so-and-so
think
picked as
this one-
employee of the month and I wasn't? I did this.
Well, like what he was
She
saying,
only did that.
What you were saying was something like, if you know, like those cards, like somebody fill out. If it was just based on
it's
something
based
like
on
that,
what the
how
people
many.
who come in fill out. It's not,
Right.
it's not anything that you decide or we decide, it's based on what we receive.
This person got 10 cards, but anyway, maybe it needs more thought and to be fair and
Because another problem is not all the staff interacts with the public.
so then
There's-
how
there's
many
quite a
would
few
be
staff
right?
members
some
that-
have more
Right.
friends than
They
So
others.
they
wouldn't
wouldn't even have a
they-
chance.
Yeah, they wouldn't have a chance, yeah.
Can I suggest that we table this and have it as food for thought for our next
Yeah.
meeting?
Good
So
idea.
everybody can
Everybody
bring their own
can-
idea as to how we can recognize this.
Mhm.
That would be,
That's
Yeah,
a
I
great
think
That would be
Wonderful.
I think that's
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Take note, President.
What'd she say?
Employees
Employees
love
love
food.
Yes, the food is
Yeah.
great. If you want to buy them pizza, they'll be
Right.
thrilled.
I mean, something like that. That wouldn't be too much.
So more civil, please.
okay, so, let Agnes, make that a request. And Agnes has requested that we all think about this for another month and come back at the September meeting and talk about it again. So thank you, Agnes. Thank you, Iris, for bringing this up. And I think we can go, is there any other new business?
I think since this will be televised, hopefully by then we should mention that the library will be closed on Labor Day and the day after,
Labor Day and the day before.
day before.
Day
So
before.
Sunday and Monday.
Monday.
Sunday and Monday.
Sunday and Monday.
Yeah.
Weekend, long weekend.
Yes.
And our next meeting shall be Wednesday,
25th.
September 25th
Yes.
at 5:30. Is there a motion to adjourn? NBC and Iris. All those in favor?
All right.
Meeting is adjourned, and it is 5:59.
Okay.
We got it done in less than
Would anyone like
half
to
an
part
hour.
with any parts of their packet that if it's not confidential?
Yes.
Before it hits the dumpster?
Have it all.
Anything that we can't give away here.
Hope the camera's
No, I guess not.
Okay.
She's got the yellow
You
one.
can say whatever you want.
She's
Yeah,
got the yellow
okay.
one.
Won't be
Wait,
publicized.
turn this off.
I'll just give her,
Mayor Gates. Mayor Kramer?
Okay,
And-
guys. Have a
He got-
nice evening.
Maybe Mayor Kramer.
Enjoy your
gave it to him.
evening.